to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we're bringing you a preview of Zombicide.
White Death.
The next in the sequel to Black Plague.
And Green Horde. This is the next in the Fantasy Line series, and it is fantastic.
We've only had the prototype for about a week. We have to send this on to Dice Tower for them to do some videos down there, so make sure you stay tuned here and over on the Dice Tower for all the exclusive content. But we have 3 gameplays coming out soon, and let me just say this, not to spoil anything.
But spoilers.
But this game is brutal in all of the best ways. Now, for those of you that are classic, I'm talking Black Plague, Zombicide fans.
Aficionados, just like myself.
Shira Chavin, it is your favorite of all of them, including Marvel Zombies.
Yes. This is competitive. This is hard. The scenarios are, I mean, we only got one scenario and we've still played it 3 times. We played the exact same scenario 3 times.
Had a different experience so many times.
We played at different player counts each time.
You ran a solo version of the game?
I did a solo version, we did a 4-player version, we did a 2-player version, and I mean, this is great.
It's working really well. So in this video, we want to give you an overview of everything that's new, everything that we've seen so far that's featured here in Zombicide White Death. We're also going to be doing an additional video that walks through every single card in this prototype, giving you a good view so that you can see all the text yourself. Stay tuned for that. We'll try to include a link if we can. And we'll have 3 gameplay videos on this channel, so please hit that subscribe button if you want to see us continue making this content. I guarantee there is plenty of Zombicide content out there that we can create.
Yes.
We just need to know that you, the audience, wants us to. Shira,
yes. What
are some of the highs? What is the stuff that's happening here? What are the differences that's happening on the table?
There are a lot of differences, but presuming that you know what Zombicide is a dungeon crawler, dice chucking, moving around the board and trying to complete an objective.
Yeah, you're going to have RPG or D&D style heroes in a way with their own unique abilities, weapons, and leveling system. In every self-contained scenario, you're going to be setting up some type of objective, like collect certain tokens, kill certain creatures, get to an exit, so on and so forth. Usually there'll be multiple parts of that, like open certain doors, explore certain ruins, find a specific item, kill a specific boss, then leave through an exit at the back of whatever the fortress was. And you also have everything you need to create your own module scenarios. But like you said, it's an RPG style where you're diving in, completing a mission, rolling a ton of dice, getting a heck of a good time, getting new levels, new abilities, and new zombies out onto the board, and it should and does feel like you're being overwhelmed and overrun constantly.
Besides for just tracking dice, there's elements of strategic planning between you and the players. It's a cooperative game between you and your fellow players because you have to decide whether you're going to just rush and try and complete everything as quick as possible, or you're going to try and get some weapons and gear up so that you can actually take down some of these zombies, because some of these zombies need specific weapons to take them down.
And if you're interested in trying out the Zombicide ethosphere, I think White Death is probably going to be an amazing place to enter. If you like the old medieval style classic Zombicide, allure, if you want the swords and archers and bowmen and the D&D kind of archetype built into the framework of these giant abominations and necromancers that have like Roman militia garb that they're wearing with swords that they're stretching out in front of them, this is going to be a fantastic place to start. Those of you that are already into Marvel Zombies and already into 2nd edition, we're going to be going over a few of the things that make this different from those, so you can decide if this is one that you want to add alongside those.
This is also going to be backwards compatible with Black Plague and Green Horde. Yeah. So I am very excited because in our prototype version we didn't get any wolves or archers, but those are specific zombies that I like from Black Plague. That's why one of the reasons I love Black Plague.
Theoretically, they have to have at least some of the other content available. At least base boxes and some expansions. If not, and both of us are a little terrified to say this and hopeful at the same time. And let me be very clear, we have no information.
No information on what's going to be offered in that pledge.
I know what's in front of me, and that's it. But I really hope they just have everything available. Because we don't have Green Horde ourselves.
Yeah, we don't have Green Horde. We've
got Black Plague, so we don't need to re-up on that, although you probably will anyway.
For sure.
And White Death is going to be coming home. Okay,
so let's talk about some of these differences.
What's happening here?
So in White Death, there's a few big differences, and then there's some minutia differences. One of the big differences is that there's going to be these NPCs out on the board. These are guards that every single player is going to be able to control once on their turn. Every player is going to be able to take one guard action, and with your starting actions and abilities on your character card, you have a specific guard action. So you start with 2 actions.
You get to not only have a specific guard action, but sometimes get a free action or a modifier, like allowing your guards to have special abilities.
The guards can push, the guards can shoot, the guards can do a lot of things out on the board, but they're a little squishy.
If your characters are interacting with them. Now, in this scenario, we've seen 3 very interesting uses with the guards. First off, moving ropes to go over the wall. We'll talk about the wall in just a second. You have
guards carrying objects and helping us move stuff along the board.
We also have the concept of guards being a little bit of a defense force, so we haven't had to be in every single location. Instead, our guards could use a spike and like poke down into the rafters, which
the guards are just
nice.
like players, and they're going to create noise themselves. So if we move them all into a huge zone, then we can have the zombies actually trying to go after that group of guards, and we can sneak around them.
And then there's some actions like tipping a big cauldron of fire over the side of the wall that we could do ourselves, but it would take all of our actions.
Yep.
Or we could have 3 guards activate everyone in that space, and those 3 guards could tip it. So it saves us an action. It saves us 2 actions. But on top of that, it allows us to have a little bit more better utility for what they're doing.
It just requires a little bit more of advanced planning of getting all those guards into that zone. When you activate the guards, you're activating every single guard in that zone. So if there's zombies and guards in the zone, you can activate a group of 4 or 5 guards, and then they'll all roll their dice and make a melee attack. Or they can also do a 1 ranged attack as well.
And then finally, in this scenario, what we've seen with the guards is that our objective did tie to them.
They're players. They're allies, and so they need to be saved too.
Now,
if you need to be saved.
It's not a ambient NPC follow mechanic. Instead, if they die, they just don't matter anymore.
Yeah. They only have 1 hit point, so when they get a single hit, they come off the board. But they do provide
we could have had all of our guards die.
Yeah.
Let me be clear, and still won the game.
There are going to be some scenarios that you cannot lose your guards.
However, here in this scenario, getting them up onto the wall so they could all defend the border, that was the main objective. So we did have to interact with them a bit, we had to move them a bit, and it was really helpful because cauldrons of fire burn abominations and nothing else kills them.
That is the only thing that kills them.
Well, Dragon Bile, of course. I mean, there's still other things in the deck that kill them, but we needed that.
So there's no level 3 weapons in this entire game right now. So the only thing that will
explain that
kill
mechanic. What's the
an abomination? It requires a level 3 weapon. There's a level 1 weapon, a level 2 weapon, a level 3 weapon. Level 2 weapons will be killing the brutes, which are renamed for the fatties in Black Plague. So the brutes require a level 2 weapon, and abominations require a level 3 weapon, which either means you have to find Dragon Bile and a torch in the deck, or we have these cauldron pots of fire that we can spill over this battlement and pour onto the abomination, and it would kill everything in the zone, similar to throwing Dragon Bile in that zone as well.
Yeah.
So those are the only weapons that would turn the abomination.
Now, there's a few ways to change the damage that you're doing, so you don't have any level 3 weapons, but you do have some personal stat modifiers.
Yeah, as you gear up, you can increase your damage, so add +1 to a level 2 weapon would take it up to a level 3.
You also are going to have some weapons that pair together in very interesting ways, and you have items on the board like these Cauldrons of Fire, which will be a new mechanic that allow you to actually kill everything in that zone by dumping it on top of the abomination's head.
One slight difference between White Death and Black Plague is that in White Death, if any single character dies of your your 6 characters, your scenario ends. Black Plague, you can lose some of your characters and sacrifice some for the sake of your game.
No one's going to be sitting on the sidelines without anything to do. And this was actually a big problem because we approached it with the mindset of...
You didn't realize that. You were about to go run headfirst into battle and be like, I'm the savior, and I died.
Yeah.
So
I like sacrificing myself for victory, but then I hate sitting there for 30 minutes. Luckily, in this game, you have to work together as a team. It requires a little bit more coordination and movement, and I think it worked really well, making it so that everyone mattered. There
are no doors in this scenario, so therefore there are no starting weapons that you need to open doors, and therefore there's not going to be any spawning in closed rooms.
Yeah.
There's going to be doorways, so you have to pay attention to the artwork onto the map, where you can pass through rooms, and some are going to be impassable, and there's going to be ruins, which are not necessarily a building, but still have line of sight differences. But yeah, there's no doors. And so that's a huge thing, because when you start Zombicide, besides for your spawn zones in Black Plague, you're like, should we open all the doors and have everything spawn at once or not?
So another thing that's going to be different when it comes to spawn zones is the actual interaction with them. Some spawn zones in some scenarios are going to be able to move along the board instead of being in one stable location.
The spawn zones are actually numbered as well, so that it's just to help they're trying to simplify the spawning manner, and so you can spawn 1, 2, 3, and then your abomination, your necromancer spawns.
But we have this creeping green corruption that's leaking across the board, similar to darkness in some ways, but instead it wipes out everything in front of it. It creates a completely open line of sight, so you just step into this fog and you can see the whole way down an aisle.
It's like a street, basically.
Whether there was a wall there or anything, so it's an open visage, so they can also identify you and just run straight in your direction, and it pushes the spawn zone. So that spawn zone, you can see this number 1 right here, is getting inch by inch closer and closer to the place we were trying to protect, which is the holy shrine
of light
in the back of this place. We have had a scenario where this spawn zone was maybe 2 spaces away from that location, and zombies were just popping up. Like, you can't defend that.
For our scenario, actually, that was a ending scenario trigger if that corruption actually reached that beacon over here.
Yeah.
So that was going to be very...
It changes the way you have to interact and what matters on the board. If a necromancer pops up that's moving that spawn zone, that's their main feature and their ability, you might have to redirect a lot of your attention for a round or 2 to actually take them down in order to continue progressing the main storyline of the game.
We only had 1 necromancer and 1 abomination, but Black Plague had a bunch of them
and
that
it's
you
all
can
backwards
incorporate.
compatible.
It's all backwards compatible, and it's CMON, so there's going to be so many more different variability. There's some technical minutia differences. They changed the word experience points to adrenaline points, is what you're taking up on your track down here, which will allow you to use better weapons and etc. etc. If you wanted to find Dragon Bile and a torch, throwing it is only going to take 1 action versus 2 actions that it has taken in the past. There are no exploding 6s, which was something I appreciated in Black Death. If you rolled a 6, you would get another chance to roll a dice. And then there's this battlement walkway over here, which I'm hoping there's going to be a 3D piece in the campaign, in the pledge. But this is raised up. So there's 2 sets of stairs that go up on the side that our survivors
We've got rope bridges that we can toss over the other side.
And then we had to toss over these 2 rope bridges so that we can actually get down to the other side.
And the wall gets destroyed if the green gunk
The green will destroy the wall. The abomination can climb on top of the wall. Some of the spawn cards will actually let any zombies that are next to this battlement climb on top for an action. And so it's not like it's a secret savior protection zone, but it does mean your line of sight is different. You can see into the ruins, you can see farther away because you are at a level up, and there's these interesting like halberds, these pole arms, which will allow you, the range is slightly different.
You have a reach down.
The range is slightly different. It's a 1-to-1 range. You cannot, even though it is a melee weapon, you cannot use it in your zone. It's 1 zone away and you're just poking.
Yeah. So this has a very Jon Snow, The North, Game of Thrones vibe and feeling to it. I mean, it has a lot of elements that feel like that classic medieval, snowy, wintry world where White Walkers are marching across the ground. I would not be surprised if we see a White Walker style like promo like scenario abomination.
That'd be really cool if they could get the IP. And
it won't be an IP crossover, but what they've done.
They have done IP crossovers. Like they did Ghostbusters. They've done IP crossovers.
But what they've done in the past, what I've seen them do in the past, maybe they'll have an IP, but what I've seen them do in the past, especially in things like Black Plague or Cthulhu Death May Die, is subtle hints that you know are X. Also, I can't wait to see the fan community come up with an entire like the Fall of the North scenario line. If you do that, send it to us. We will play it here on the channel.
Yeah. And then there's just our characters. Our characters are all new in the scenario, as with every iteration of Zombicide, and I'm excited to see, because each one had
powers,
a different
new abilities,
feel.
new conditions.
I had
There's
my
even
tank,
an ability now.
I had my ranger, I had my spellcaster.
Yeah, there's even an ability now with some of our spellcasters or our swordsmen where you have a freeze ability.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, that's one difference as well. That
so when you hit a location, you might just stop everyone in their tracks simply by targeting it.
They miss their next, any zombie in that zone would miss their next activation. So that was really helpful at times.
Yeah, well, we could have used it better, but theoretically, it was very helpful.
The last thing I'm going to say, that was my favorite part of White Death, is the vault weapons.
Okay.
And I mean the vault weapons. You did not realize how crucial they were, but I realized in my solo gameplay that getting those vault weapons, they are extremely powerful and useful. And if you can get them early on in the scenario, you have a much better chance of victory.
The vault weapons were very fun in this scenario. We had some that would just kill everyone in a space as long as you got a single death.
Yeah.
We had some that were just a very satisfying archer attack where you'd fire a extra shot for every new creature in the location.
For every zombie in that zone, you got an extra die.
So very good. So talking about this Black Death Black Plague second edition Marvel Zombies.
Yeah.
Why should someone consider or not consider this in that context?
Someone should consider this if they have found some iterations of Zombicide too easy. I believe that Simon has actually heard those complaints, and they have written in the rulebook ways to incorporate extra necromancers, extra abominations. They have heard that.
Well, we saw with Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies was ratcheted up another level as well.
Marvel Zombies had a really different feel though, because it was within the Marvel IP. The characters functioned differently. There's no searching. There was like no searching for weapons. Things were very, very different.
It was a step to the side. I think anyone that backed Marvel Zombies that is enjoying Marvel Zombies, if they like the system, the mechanics, the idea of the game, this makes all the sense in the world to sit right next to it on a shelf, because this, in my opinion, is going to be the new standardized set for Zombicide. This and Marvel Zombies are kind of the two kings, right?
This is going to be backwards compatible with Black Plague. This is going to be something that I feel if anyone has really enjoyed Black Plague and they want more content for it, more variability, more different scenarios, and extra just components for it, this is going to be something to add to your collection.
And then the big decision between something like Second Edition and Zombicide.
Second Edition has a campaign element, which I didn't find super like fulfilling. But I just felt it was too easy. As you leveled up, you were leveling up too much before the zombies were leveling up.
Well, and along with that, Second Edition is going to be a big theme question as well.
It's a modern scenario going through the White House.
Do you want machine guns and pistols and things to attack people with that are in more modern era? Or do you want to go back into the medieval times? Personally, I love the medieval world of like this necromancer style, like something is raised something from the dead, and you
this
don't know
plays some
quite what
homage
it
to
is.
Invader as well, with the corruption and the darkness. So there is some feels of the Invader. I love the searching through the gear deck. That's one of my favorite parts of Zombicide, and in Marvel Zombies, because they took that away, that was like one of my major complaints about it. And
I'm under the impression that this is going to be a major campaign. I mean, Zombicide Black Plague was their biggest campaign before Marvel Zombies. And since then, there have been just a ravenous fan base of Zombicide fans continuing to grow. This is clearly coming in, playing into that world that people have already loved. You messaged me when you first learned about it, being like, Jesse, I know we normally cover these products. Are we going to be able to cover White Death?
Yes, exactly. I don't feel the need to keep like Undead or Alive. With this coming out, we have Marvel Zombies on its way.
No, stop it. I like the train. I like the train. Get out of here.
We cannot have a whole Calyx just of Zombicide.
We can have a whole Calyx full of Zombicide. I'm going to play through all the train scenarios at least. You just got home. We're going to start playing through both Marvel Zombies and Undead or Alive.
If you want all of Zombicide, just continue getting every single new iteration.
No, we don't immediately need Second Edition. And Invader we've had fun with.
Yes.
But I think I'm more excited for
Black Plague, Green Horde, White Death, Undead or Alive, and Marvel Zombies.
Will be in our collection.
For five.
That sounds about
right.
That's what we're gonna do. Let us know what you're gonna do at your house.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you in that campaign.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm thrilled we got a chance to cover that. If you're at this point and you're like, they seem excited, we are. We're happy. We like Zombicide. We like the crazy stuff that Simon does. We also have created 3 other videos for you, so you can go see if you think it's something that you'll like yourself.
It was my first run of going solo, and I really, really liked it. Yeah. I was super happy about that. So.
Now, I mean, the commentary made it a little less solo, but you'll see that for yourself. We'll see you next time.
Bye.